What's your? I'm not asking as a social nicety. I mean, how has your recent experience been?
Yeah, I wouldn't even know. But it also, I mean, we're likely talking about the spiritual stuff, and I tend to think in terms of progress. It's what I noticed right now, which I distinctly remember hearing. There's no progress. There's only clear hearing. Uh,
So, well, how did you feel about that when you heard that one? What did you think? What was your response to that? Hearing that?
I can tell you what I feel right now, just having it in mind again. And there's some sort of, oh yeah, that makes everything better, because with the idea of progress in place, there's so often this feeling of, oh, I am almost there, and it's not a pleasant feeling at all, because after feeling it 100 times, it's just, oh God, not again that.
Mm,
And hearing there's no progress, only clear seeing, yeah, okay, that's not so grand anyway.
mm. So, what if instead of saying I'm not there yet, which is another story, of course, yet it expresses something that you feel. Do you get that it's an impossibility to be somewhere on a path because time only exists in the mind? So what is the future other than a fantasy? Yet that fantasy feels real, doesn't it? It feels like, yes, tomorrow I will do, tomorrow this will happen, but tomorrow, it's just a fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah. Also interesting to that part, because there's never a blinking neon sign that says, oh, now I understood this entire thing about the future not being real. And I tend to find myself being a very doubtful person. And there's,
So is that okay? Is it okay to be doubtful?
yeah, I assume it's just there.
Hmm. So
It's
is
helpful
that
to
a,
actually keep that in mind.
so being a doubtful person, does that suggest that you are questioning or considering maybe there's a tendency for it to go in a particular quote quote direction with your considerations? So doubtful is kind of like saying, well, I don't know if that's true. But you see, there's an assumption there that something can be true.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the recurring thought is more like, um, could I really say that I understood that already? Or is that just maybe role playing, or maybe arrogant?
Yeah, or forget that. That's those possibilities invite a story again, don't they?
Yeah.
How would you know when you've understood it? So if you understand the difference between hot and cold, what you understand is a story you've been fed about excited electrons. That's what you understand about hot and cold. But your body knows hot and cold, doesn't it? And
Yes.
your body doesn't understand. Your body has no idea of the scientific premise behind something being hot. Electrons excited and moving faster. What a great story that is. But your body doesn't know anything about that. It just knows this is hot and this is cold when it experiences it. So when you
There is sort of something that can be, or that offers itself as a sort of, oh, this is what the body recognizes as moment, or yeah, it's difficult to say this without using the words no
yeah,
future, no past, or right now, because it's not what it really feels like. But there is something that this body would recognize as maybe, let's say, an alternative to all those stories.
so how would the body recognize progress? How would the body recognize that you're nearly there, but not quite? Is it possible?
I mean, underneath that story is like a story of being excited, right? And for that, I can more clearly answer that, yeah, okay, there's maybe a bodily sensation, but that bodily sensation is um, sort of claimed by the story of
It's
being
also,
excited, but it's just a
it,
sensation then.
yeah, and it's also responding to a story. So if you say, all right, now I'm there, and you get excited, you get a feeling of satisfaction, a feeling of something pleasant. Is it responding to the story or is it responding to being there? Your body's got no idea whether you're there or not, has it? Excuse the words, but that's the only way I can put it. How can the body have an idea? But the body cannot know whether you're there or not. You can say, well, I haven't been suffering that I can remember, therefore the body must be there. But that's all a story, isn't it? So what about this? I hate and I love to burst this bubble. And that is that when you are there, the body has no idea that you're there. It's the absence of suffering that invites a story about being there. It's the presence of suffering that invites a story that I'm not there yet. The body itself, without a story, has no idea about being there or not there, being awake or not awake. Has it? Can you
Yeah,
feel that?
it's
Can you feel that bubble burst?
still relaxation. And now this is always also something that like I have these concepts about, for example, now, bubble bursting, and I have these concepts about maybe what a shift would feel like, and maybe also like I have seen those records of people on liberation, at least there, so clearly stating something from one moment to the other, like with that final conversation one has to assert the shift has happened, that is so full of confidence. And so in a way, I see what I just described. It's like, oh, there's bubble bursting, but what I think about it is not an experience, and of course, just a concept, right? So I'm thinking about it. Though, there's still the story around it, like, okay, but isn't that real? Isn't that something? And isn't that something to work towards to? And I'm sometimes so confused about what this is about, because actually, yeah, it's about something really simple. Like, is there that do I thoughts reference something? And
Say that one again.
do I thoughts actually reference something
Yes, yeah,
that
gotcha.
exists?
Yeah.
And
So, all right then. So we're at a slightly deep level here. Can any thought reference anything except another thought?
that one's that one's that one is good.
So we're touching on here the possibility of the usefulness of stories. And so I could ask you another question, but well, I'll ask it anyway. But it's not. Don't chase it at the moment. Is there a difference between a bodily experience and a story about it? I want to put that slightly differently. The thinking mind is part of the body. But yeah, as I say, don't chase that one now. Don't look for it now. Just leave it in the background for later. At the moment, what we're talking about is actually a certain kind of story. So if there's an experience of, say, heat, let's say you're standing in the sun and you feel hot enough to want to take that jacket off, and the mind comes along and says, I'm hot. You can see how the bodily experience produced a story, and you'll respond to that story by taking off your coat. It's also possible that you could experience being hot and take off the coat and not think about it at all, have no stories whatsoever. The body takes off the coat, and the mind is let's say it's really busy with something else. So it's not really producing a story at a conscious level. But when we get to, that's the body saying hot, and it knows from experience that if you take off the coat, you'll be less hot, more comfortable, right? It knows from experience that. But that's the body, and the story is about the body. The story is not
Which
about, even though you might say, I will take off my coat in that story, the I will do it is not really a feature. It's just the language. It's just the body taking off the coat. But if there is a reference to I or me, where the emphasis is on an I or a me, they're the stories that get us into trouble. So if it's hot and you take off your coat, there's nothing personal about it. But if somebody says, you look silly with that coat on, take it off, you could respond to that very personally. You could feel a whole range of emotions, and then you either do it or don't do it. You might resist doing it, or you might do it, but it doesn't matter. But that's a different thing. So the stories that reference me, they're the ones that get us into trouble. All suffering comes from them. So you can see that the sentence "I am hot," right, can be "I am hot," meaning this body is feeling a rise in temperature or heat, or you could say "I am hot," and then the emphasis is on me personally. And then there'll be a whole lot of other stories that hang off that about what should I do or what should not I do? What should I not do? Hi, Maria. Yeah. So you get the difference. It's the same words, but the meaning is different. So if the body's hot, the body will respond to whatever. It'll take the coat off. But if you are hot, it can get very complicated. It can be that, well, how stupid are you to put on a coat in a hot weather? Now you've got to carry the coat when you take it off. You've got to do something with it. All sorts of stories can come from it because it's personal. And when you say, I'm not there yet, very definitely the I'm part is big. Not there yet. Well, that's obviously a fantasy. If you're not there yet, how do you know what it's like to be there? How do you know you're not there? Maybe you are there and it feels like you're not there. But regardless, you project something into the future when you say, I'm not there yet. And there's a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, go on.
this projecting something into the future, I'm gonna cluster together some experiences. There's on the surface, the experiences that look different but have the same sort of sensation. I want to get to the sensation, like projecting something into the future, or doing some maybe a bit mind-numbing activity, like being bored and eating food, or like playing a video game where you actually kind of feel like you're actively wasting your time or something. So there are these sort of almost narcotic elements to it, and right, even with this projecting into the future stuff, it has this sort of narcotic quality to it.
Yeah.
That's when I describe it. And sometimes so that's interesting to me. I do. I mean, I am curious about it. Tempted to say what to do about it, which of course would be like biting your own tail. And
Yeah.
but but it's interesting. Like it comes along, for example, for me with like images of white clouds of fluff and just fuzziness, nothing really concreteness and stuff like this, which are of course images. And this is as far as I understand
Yeah.
many things. And then it's almost always also like a sort of pleasant experience.
A what?
A sort of pleasant experience, like
Yes, yes, yeah,
this
yeah,
this feeling of being slightly numb.
yeah. What if what
And
if that's intentional? What if we are seeking to escape or to avoid something, and that even something as shitty as being bored is better? Even doom scrolling or whatever we do to redirect the attention away from something we don't want to experience because it's not pleasant. Even if we don't know what that is, we just
I
know
feel
that
like
there's
this
a,
is hitting the nail on the head. Yeah.
yeah. And we get so good over the years at that we the unpleasantness, the discomfort does not even reach our consciousness before we're off into the activity to distract us from it. So sometimes the pleasantness of that is not really pleasant, but it's not. We've avoided the unpleasant, so it's still preferable.
And I'm going to talk in terms of doing and actionable items now, because I don't know how to communicate it differently. But I mean, like it sounds like the right thing to do. Okay, I don't know how to communicate that better. Is to get in touch with what is being avoided.
That could be a good thing to do, but there's a big but here.
I
Experience
like
here.
big butts and I cannot lie. Sorry.
Yeah. We don't need to dig out and make clear what it is we're avoiding specifically. If you go looking for what you're avoiding, you're always going to find stuff. There's lots of stuff there. You've got a lifetime of accumulation of stuff that you could be avoiding. Just recognizing that there's something there can be enough. But if you're addicted to doing, you might go, well, that's not enough. I want to know what it is.
Mhm.
I want to dig it out and kill it.
Yeah.
But it's not actually necessary to do that. But it is very valuable and very useful to just recognize that something may be there. We're not even concerned about what it is. We don't even need to know what it is. Just something, so that this desire for food, desire to pick up my phone, desire to play music, whatever it is that we do as a diversion, if we just recognize that it's a diversion, we can still do it. Still go ahead and eat. Go ahead and do whatever you do. But you know that what you're doing is avoiding something. So again,
Just
it
recognizing that is enough.
yes, that's a big one. But if you're addicted to doing,
I am.
being in control, doing, yeah, achieving, right, then it gets quite hard to just accept that there is something there. But guess what? That's also an opportunity into recognizing that addiction. So we can kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. We can we can I want to say we can avoid without avoiding, if you like. We once we recognize, once we acknowledge that there is something there that we're avoiding, depending on what it is and depending on how deeply ingrained and how much it shows up, if it's really big, it'll come back and give you a go after go after go at doing something about it. And under those circumstances, it may be valuable to find out what it is. But if it's just something that's turned up, and lots of things turn up because we're really good at avoiding things, then you don't need to know what it is. And you can still go ahead and do the avoiding, and then it's not avoiding. So if let's say your avoidance is with food, you want to go and eat something, right? When you recognize that you're avoiding something, the biology of you is that you're still salivating. You've still got this taste in your mouth. You're still going to want to eat because that's been started. But when you finish it, you're just satisfying that physical thing. You're not doing it as an avoidance. Maybe that's a little bit subtle too. But so it's you need to experiment with this kind of stuff. And so there's no right or wrong here. So if something comes up that you need to avoid, to distract from, and your way of doing that is to pick up your phone and start scrolling, if you do it knowing that the idea is to avoid something, it becomes a different experience.
That's very much a value.
Mm.
I think I think what I would enjoy is sort of also giving the sort of speaking teddy bear to someone else because I feel like that would be greatly appreciated. I just love so much that I am allowed to have so much time here, and what I got was very valuable out of that already.
Yeah. It's
Thank you so
valuable to me
much.
too, I discovered a couple of things in that talking with you. Yeah.
It's so wholesome talking with you.
Uh, it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's stuff that happens all day, every day to all of us, and yet we never talk about it. We never make it conscious. Yeah. All right. But feel free to jump in and we'll come back if that's appropriate. Yeah. How are you, Maria?
Oof.
Well, that
Starting
says
with the big
something.
questions.
Yeah.
Um, I'm on night 4 of no sleep, which apparently for everyone means something really bad, and to my mind as well. And I've been kind of like in what feels like a lot of like shadow work, I guess, for years. And I was kind of really regimented and able to like reach these like uh places that felt really like I was going somewhere, like my nervous system was finally calming down and I had the right kind of inquiry. And then a few days ago, it just snapped. It just like a dam broke and yeah, the sleeping stopped and just I'd already had a few weeks of maybe a month of like really intense crying and just like really big emotional things and then like the body being tired and then that kind of leading to this like very heavy feeling depression and there's this just cycling in and out of that and like trying to like keep myself out of that and and now it's come to a point where the other day I like yeah I like kind of was like because this has happened to me before and it got really 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 dark for like a really long time for like really like
Mm.
4 years or something that I was basically like all I can really say is it was like so afraid of what was underneath the activation that the crisis was preferable. It's like what you were saying about the avoidance thing. And I think in these last few years I've like tried to work through the stuff that felt so unbearable so that I could be in my body again. And I just feel like the system has just been like, no. And
Yep.
and and I went and I did like a microdose of psilocybin 2 days ago when it got really bad because that helps me clear. And it was a really beautiful experience and I was really clear and I could just see like thought. And I was like, oh, thank God. And then yesterday could still kind of manage that. And then by the end of yesterday, I went to bed and it was like the big, like just the slew of like suicidal ideation. And don't worry, I'm not gonna act on it. It's more something that my mind goes to when it gets so overwhelmed
Yeah.
like this. Um, and sorry, I'm bumming everyone out. Um, and
You're not bumming me out.
thanks, Vince. Yeah,
I'm also really glad that you mentioned these.
oh, um, yeah, and you know, and it's just this thing where, and I spoke to my friend. I have a friend called Emerson who has a non-duality channel, and he's wonderful, and he's basically been through what I've been through in this kind of like neurotic, psychotic seeker, like I was just writing down the thoughts as they were coming up before I got on the call with you. And it's like, I'm so scared. Um, yeah, so I spoke to my friend Emerson and then I went for like 2 hours and he was amazing and he just kind of held me and just kept saying, that's a thought, that's a thought, that's a thought, that's a thought, that's a thought. And then I went to bed and I kind of tried to keep that up, but the waves of fear were just so intense that I was kind of like wailing almost. And then this kind of also part of the neurotic pattern came in, which was like, you just have to stay with it until it's gone. You just have to like be with it. And that's what I used to do as well. And that just didn't work either back then. And so it's like, of course, I see the value in staying with it. And I also feel like there's just nowhere else to go at this point, if I'm totally honest. Like I've got a psychiatrist on speed dial if I need anything, and I've got friends who care about me, but it's like I know that it's not that's not going to help really. And so there is an element of being like, I know there's something that wants to be seen and wants to be stayed with, but it's like every time my head hits the pillow, every time I'm not on my phone or not distracting myself, the intensity of the thoughts and the like existential fucking hopelessness. Like it just feels like I just know that with the intent, like with the stuff that trauma in my body, there's no way that I will ever get to a place of like clarity. That's the kind of underlying thing, that when everything and the crisis has kind of been calmed down, and I'm like a little bit calmer again, that's when that revs up, and it's like stop kidding yourself. Like you're not gonna get there.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So tell me, this experience of just knowing, what does that feel like? Where are you feeling it? Is it there now? Can you access it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't control it. It's fine. I don't care if you cry.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's more, it's like, um, yeah, it's like, it feels like, it starts as kind of a kind of depression feeling, and then it turns into like terror.
Where? Where do you feel it?
Um, my
Is it
throat.
locatable as an area, or maybe it's more general?
Uh, it's more like flightiness, like this, and then I start like almost hyperventilating, and I have to like I'll just like, and I haven't done this for years, but I'll start like rocking back and forth and just being like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm in a prison. Yeah.
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 So do that rocking now. You don't need to do the oh fuck stuff, but just rock and close your eyes and really experience that rocking motion. It is comforting, isn't it? How did you know to do that? How did you know to rock? Where did that come from?
Oh, don't know.
No, it just turned up, didn't it?
Yeah.
What if we said the body knows how to do it? It's you didn't even have stories about that. Or what you had was stories about what that was expressing, but the rocking itself, the body knew how to do that, and it is a comforting thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess also like even the like pacing and the phone and the distraction and the speaking to
All of
someone.
it. Yes.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
after yesterday, I was like, I need to not keep this seeking energy going where I'm constantly going to meetings and constantly this. And then I was kind of like, oh, but I want to kind of speak to Vince about this, but I feel like, and so it feels like what I'm doing with you right now is like a distraction as well, which
Yep.
is,
Yep.
yeah, that I'm kind of like I'm doing something wrong, and that I'm kind of making things worse is what it feels like
Mm.
to the mind, right? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that like what I should really do is just like stay, you know, with myself through and watch the thoughts come. Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's
There's a thing with the thoughts that came up when you were mentioning it earlier. I have come across Emerson. He is good for sure. Um, for some people, just to point out that that's a thought, that's a thought, that's a thought. For some people, that's fine. That's good enough, right? Because without realizing it, the consequences of that appear. But it's really it seems like that hasn't happened for you. So to tell you that that's a thought, you in fact you already know that. You already know that it's thought, right? But it's what it means. What is the what is the consequences of seeing that these thoughts, these are disturbing thoughts, that is, that there is an effect from these thoughts. The consequences of recognizing it as a thought should be, should be that we discount the thought and therefore don't have the reaction to it. But that doesn't work for you, does it?
It does sometimes. It does a lot of the like when I was talking to him, it down regulated, and when I listen to him or when I listen to you or when then and I hear people talk about thoughts, then I down regulate. So it does work.
Okay, good. Yeah.
But
Yeah. So some of that is happening, what I'm saying. You're recognizing that a thought isn't a compulsion. It might point to a compulsion, but in itself, it's not a compulsion. You don't have to respond to a thought when you recognize it as a thought. But when you don't see that it's a thought and you immediately get sucked into the content of it, what it's
yeah,
about, that's of course when you get into a shitty state. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like I was doing really hardcore, like every day, like 3 or 4 hours a day, kind of inquiring or looking at thoughts, and it was kind of how I maintained
Yeah.
myself. And
Yeah.
I'm willing to do that, but it just got at a certain point, it just got too much, I think,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I would be like doing that, and then I'd be tapping, and then I'd be doing qigong, and I'd be doing all these things to kind of clear and keep my system
Yeah.
open. And it's like on the one hand, it really worked, and on the other hand, I'm here, like
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
and so I'm just really, really at my wit's end, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Sounds stupid, but it's good. It's good to be at your wit's end. It's about time. Yeah. So here's a story that might be of value to you, and that is many, many years ago in my history, I was a hypnotherapist. I worked with people using hypnosis with problems. And with that in the background, I found myself at a show with a stage hypnotist. And one of the things that he did was that he got a couple of people and he put them standing against a wall and he put their hands on the wall and they were in a hypnotic state. And then he told them that their hands on the wall was the only thing that was stopping the wall from falling on them. And then he just left them and they held that wall up. You
To
could
this day,
see that
they're
the,
still holding it. Yeah. No.
so what we saw was what we realized as the audience was that the wall was standing anyway, and it wasn't, they didn't have to hold it up. But for them, it felt like the wall was going to fall on them if they loosened their push. They had to
Yeah.
keep on holding it up. Yeah. And all of the things that you're doing that you've just mentioned, all of those things are like holding that wall up.
Yeah.
What I'm wanting to convey to you, maybe you know it at a deep level or maybe you don't, and that is the body knows what to do. The body is always seeking better health. It is just a natural thing. That's the way we're built. The body, if I cut you, that cut will heal. If you get sick, your body will try and heal. It's just the nature of the organism. And even though that can get you into a place like no sleep for days, or whatever your experience is, that's preferable to what the mind tells it will be there if it doesn't do it. And so you can't stop doing things. You're just holding that wall up, and every fiber of your being thinks it knows that if you let go, it's going to fall on you. Now, if you stop doing all of those things that you do to try and regulate, you've got a story there that says you're in deep trouble.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's like this, it's like exactly that. And it's like the sleep, the not sleeping thing is kind of part of the proof, and just the like, yeah, like the
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
See,
yeah.
I'm rather amazed and very interested in what would be the experience of 4 days with no sleep. I couldn't do that. I had a sleep this afternoon, and yet I had a good sleep last night. If I tried to go for 4 days without sleep, I think by about a day and a half, I'd be going to sleep standing up. But
It's very trippy, but it also feels like I'm completely disembodied, like, and completely,
yes, yes, yeah.
and
So it's
I yeah. And yesterday I slept a little, and so the kind of when and this is what the mind is saying, is that the this state is preferable to the depression that I feel
yes, yeah,
when I so when I'm
yeah,
rested, it's like then everything starts coming up to the surface, and I'm just, it's like rock in a hard place. Like I'm either like this and not sleeping, making it worse, or I'm there, like kind of just wanting it, like just unable to cope
yeah. You're fucked, aren't you?
royally. I mean, it
Yeah.
really, and I don't, I like, it's so weird because if you would have spoken to me 2 days ago when I was on my microdose, I was like, I'm finally feeling into the safety of life and all this beauty. And then now it's literally like, so I can see the madness in it.
Mm.
Like, but I just,
Yep. I get it. You're just
yeah, and
helpless. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to be dramatic, but I can't really convey how much time I've spent in this state, and how like uh excruciating it is.
Mm. I can't experience that. I can
Uh,
only imagine what it's like for you. But I've spoken to enough people to have a pretty good idea of what, yeah, of the intensity of it, and the extremity that you're at. Yeah.
yeah.
So when you had that microdose and you were feeling really good, what do you think happened? Did you give the drug credit? Was there something in the psilocybin itself that offered you, no, how can I put it that way? Was there what you experienced, the calmness, the curiosity, the amazement, all of the stuff that you experienced, was there some of that in the drug, or did the drug affect you by shutting down those old stories?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
So
latter.
it was you. Yes, it was you. The drug just enabled you to access part of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just knowing that that exists in you, and it exists in you now. It doesn't have to, it's not only when you take psilocybin that exists. It's when you take psilocybin that comes to the fore.
Yeah.
But it's in you now, that part of it. And the body knowing that rocking and crying and doing whatever the body wants to do is a way of helping. So
Yeah.
maybe the one thing that has been missing from all this whole experience for you is knowing that there is an unconscious inherent part of you that seeks to be better always. But of course, you club it down every time it shows its face.
Yeah,
Not
because it feels
not consciously, but you know, because it comes with stories about. what will happen if I don't control this?
Yeah.
It sounds perverse, and I guess, society would say, well, we need to show compassion and understanding for somebody in this situation. But there's another aspect to that. That's all true, but there's another aspect to that I want to point out, and that is that it's really good. It's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic that you are at this point where there's nowhere to go.
Oh, wow. I think what that would have meant to my brain at first is like, I gotta knuckle down and feel.
That's not what I was meaning, but yeah, okay.
No, but that's really amazing, because what you just said was like, that's where the mind went, and then the whole system was like, I remember this interview with this guy, this American guy, Tim, that went through this really intense experience, and you helped him, and how he like spent like 6 days sitting with these enormous waves of pain and grief, and was throwing up and shitting himself and all this kind of stuff. And that's what the mind thinks I need to do.
Yeah. In a way, it's like that's the cost of getting better. The story is that you got to pay for it, and that's how you'll pay for it. Yeah.
That it's exactly that. And that, like, when I listened to that, it really freaked me out, because I've done stuff like that before.
You've you might not agree with this, but you've done your penance.
Yeah.
Why am I laughing? I think it's not that it's hilarious, but it's it's so big. Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah. It doesn't respond to anything, Vince.
Yeah.
It doesn't respond to anything. And that's what's so scary. But what you just said, I don't know. That was like, what, I don't know what you said, but it was kind of like, there's nowhere to go with it, or there's nowhere to go.
Mm. So that's when you abandon struggling.
Yeah. And that's right. And because the like neurotic psychotic seeker thing, where it's constantly digging and constantly like maintaining,
Yeah.
that's doing something. That's, I mean, as in like, that's trying to uh yeah. And now the mind's like, oh, well, you feel a little bit better now because you got a permission slip from Vince. But as soon as this calls over, you're gonna be in existential hell again.
No, not yet, not yet, not yet. Stay in that
Okay.
city.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 I had an image, a story that popped up that said, with all the instruments that are possible to invent and have, and all of the, magnifying glasses and whatever, if you sat down with a flower next to you and you tried to convey to somebody the absolute beauty and wonder and the characteristics of that flower, you could write a full book and you wouldn't even touch the experience of the actual flower. You couldn't do it. There's no way that no amount of words, no amount of description could convey the smell, what it actually was, could convey the hue of the colors, the shape of the petals. Not, it just you just couldn't do it. You might get a vague version of it, but you could not never do the actual thing. And it's like that's the relationship of the mind to the body, to the experience. The mind can't get close. The mind can only operate at a surface level. Right? But it certainly has done a good job of getting a whole lot of stuff going for you. But it didn't even touch the body's ability, the body's desire, the body's processing of moving towards a better health. Of course, all of the stories that you've been experiencing are focused on what's wrong. They're focused on the negative, so you haven't even come close to focusing on the positive. It's not that the positive and the negative outweigh or balance each other or anything like that. It's just that they are, well, it's irrelevant in a way. So what I'm saying is that what you've been experiencing seems overwhelming, and it seems so big and so strong, and it seems like it's all that exists.
Yeah.
But it's not. It doesn't touch the body's ability. I mean, how amazing is it that you can go 4 days without sleeping? Especially after a dose of psilocybin, you're almost certainly always will need sleep to recover from that. But here you are 4 days in. That must be a psychedelic experience of its own. 4 days with no sleep.
It's terrifying.
Oh, is it? What's terrifying? Oh, that's the story about it, right?
Yeah, the story about it is just like, people saying I'm gonna, yeah, go into some kind of psychotic break or
Well, how do they know? Yeah. All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel, I do feel, yeah, and it's now it's like, oh God, and now when I do sleep and I wake up, the heaviness of the sludge that has to be worked through. Like, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah. And it's
yeah,
physical as well as mental, The one of the things that happens when you sleep is that your brain shrinks to give room for the lymph system to clear out toxins in the head. And when you go 4 days without sleep, that stuff builds up.
yeah, I know. And I don't really know what to do about it.
Nothing to do about it. You don't have control of that.
Oh, that's really good to hear. I think as well and this is the thing, and I'm really grateful for everyone for letting me have so much time, like genuinely, thank you. And tell me when to stop. But yeah, it's like I don't have any trust in life. I'm very afraid of life right now. I'm afraid of feeling the way I feel. I'm afraid of living behind this wall of
Mm,
existential terror. And so to hear you say that, like, the body, to not like try to force myself to sleep and all that kind of stuff, like that does do something.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've been saying for a long time, I don't remember how long, doesn't matter, but also read recently a short article that talked about the basic characteristic of being human is compassion, because of the fact that we are connected to everybody. If we're not corrupted by conditioning, where we naturally want to move to is love and sharing because we're a herd animal. This idea that some people have, that we're basically animals, and if we don't control ourselves, we'll kill each other. That's just bullshit. That's just
Yeah.
frightened people. That there is a natural inclination to want to do good for others and ourselves. Because, well, I say because, and as I presented, it's only a story, but it feels right here because I recognise that you are me and I am you. So when I think of what you're going through, I can feel compassion. I don't have to make it up. I don't have to want it. It just comes. I feel great love towards you. That sounds weird. It sounds woo-wooish or whatever, but that, if put it this way, if I was there with you, I just want to hug you, and there would be no words. That hug would convey. No, I'm going to cry too. But that's our natural state, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, it's like I think if my system and my brain knew that what's holding everything is kind, then it wouldn't be so afraid of kind of falling into it. But
Yeah.
mind just weaves these stories that are so dark,
Yep.
and it's
And
like
you
if
can,
yeah,
I guess I'm imagining that you can see that it's stuff that you've learned, stuff that's come from the outside of you
yeah,
that's resulted in this.
yeah, 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 because more and more recently I've been feeling love and I've been allowing love in, and it's been really amazing. So
It can also
but
be painful.
yeah, 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 there have been moments where it's been painful too, but it's like yeah,
Oh, that was a lovely sigh.
yeah, and it's like something. The thing that with the psilocybin was like that there it was an inherent safety that I felt,
Mm,
and that has closed up, and I just don't know how to access that, but I know it's kind of what would really help. And then I'm like, oh, but I need to like work at it. I need to do inquiry. I need to like work
mm,
with my thoughts. And maybe that's true. Um, but I guess there's also part of me that's so sick of that.
sure. Yep. What if we had compassion for that part of ourself that's been fucked up by conditioning? Conditioning we've applied ourselves, conditioning we've learned from
Right.
others, conditioning that comes via a story of our history, all of that stuff. If we had compassion that said none of that is bad in itself, I don't mean your experience of it. That's certainly not, we'd call that bad. But in itself, it's a weird attempt to make you better.
Yeah.
It just doesn't know how. It's like you've gone to a quack doctor and he's saying, take these vitamins or minerals and that'll fix you, and that's all you know. But there's a trust that, well, there can be a trust that your body knows how to do it. So when your mind comes up with do this or do that or don't do this or don't do that, we can go, oh, okay, yeah, I know you've got good intentions. It might or might not be, it might or might not work, but I recognize that you've got good intentions, even though you're making me feel really shitty about something or in myself.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to convey to you is don't try to not do what comes up. Don't do it. Don't. Well, one of the big stories for you that is worth recognizing as a story and just allowing it to be is that there is something that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
You see, there is no, I don't know the word, there is no fixed place. That's a shitty word, but it's as close as I can get to it. There is no not broken place, right? That every one of us, awake or not, is irrelevant. Every one of us is constantly experimenting with what makes us feel better. It seems like that's the aim of the body, for you to feel good. And the shitty stuff that it makes you feel is an attempt to make you feel good. It's kind of
Yeah.
paradoxical. It's weird, isn't it? But you can get the logic of it. But in a way, it's just saying, well, this shitty is nowhere near as bad as the shitty that it could be.
Yeah.
So it's the least worst option. And what I'm saying to you is not fighting that is a way through it.
Oh, so like not because what so you're saying like not fighting the fact that I'm want to be on the phone all day instead of doing my practices
Yes, exactly.
because it feels like I'm just throwing gasoline on the fire by what I'm doing now.
Yeah, yeah.
But to say like the the way through it is to just trust even that as part of
Yes, you got it. That's it. Big one. Yes.
okay.
That's part of your healing path.
It's just that I feel like I've done this before and it led me to really bad places. But yeah.
Okay.
But maybe yeah. But maybe uh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what I will say is that what you will do now won't be the same as what you did before.
Right. Oh gosh, yeah. And Vince, honestly, like even just that, the like shines a light on the fact that I'm like just it's all up to me. It's like that's the thing. Like it's all up to me. I have to do this. I'm not doing it right. And yeah, and that so to say like how I'm doing it now, and then my mom was like, yeah, because I'm more conscious now and I have more tools and I have more this. Like
Yeah.
it's not, yeah, it's like I don't think that's what you're saying.
No.
Yeah, I guess what you're saying. Yeah.
It's going to happen at an unconscious level or subconscious, if you like. But yeah, consciously, it's a forget it. It just cannot happen at a conscious level. All we can do is keep the conscious part busy while the rest of it works itself out.
Oh, wow. Which is, I guess, what I'm doing. Yeah.
Is that recognizing that there is a move towards healing?
Very, yeah. A little bit. Yeah, like it at least is self-forgiving and like,
Yeah. So here's another one that's just even though it'll come in at an intellectual level, it'll come in as a story. It's worth reminding yourself from time to time, and that is that there is no actual self that's doing all of this.
yeah, yeah,
It feels like there is, and but we without thinking, we immediately fall into the old habit of talking like we have control, and we don't. But this is it. We're not giving up control that we once had. We never ever had control. It only felt like we did. And that's why you feel so helpless about that, because you never really had control. You think if you had control, you'd be able to fix this straight away.
right. Oh, wow.
So it's like somebody who's hypnotized and you give them a feather, but tell them as a hammer and get them to hammer the nail in with the feather. And they're trying as hard as they can, but that nail's not going in. And they don't understand why, because they think they're holding a hammer, but they're really only holding a feather.
Yeah. Wow.
So somehow you, like most of society, like all of us at some stage, have believed that you've got control and that you've got to pull your socks up and do something about this. Not possible. If I tell you you're not trying hard enough because you can't fly, you're going to try and flap your arms harder thinking that you can get off the ground? You'd just laugh at that one, wouldn't you? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to fly and you haven't got the ability. It's not part of your makeup to be able to fly.
And then it's also like the, yeah. Because then the mind's like, okay, then we won't do. We won't do.
Yeah, and that's a version of the same thing, of course, isn't it? That's a good one, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of between those two things. We're like, oh, okay, cool. Then we don't need to do anything. Fine, cool. Awesome, done.
Yeah.
It's more nuanced than that, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah. It just seems so crazy that the paradox of this stuff is that the harder we try, the less we can achieve anything, and the less we try, or when trying doesn't happen. It's not that we try not to try. That doesn't work either. But when we find that we're relaxed, things happen. And you've just been unable to get to that letting go stage. But that nothing has worked for you that's why this is so good. That nothing has worked for you gets you very close to where you stop trying to do that. You stop trying to fly, you stop trying to hammer the nail in with a feather.
Yeah.
That's a great metaphor. I love that one. That I don't know where that came from, but yeah, that's what people do. Hammer nails with feathers. Ha! Yeah.
Yeah, there's
That says it beautifully. Oh.
yeah.
Hmm. So what we can have, it seems like we can bring it on, but I don't know. But a lot of these things, it's just a case of if the thoughts come up to say it, then somehow the expression of it makes it more likely to happen. Not that it controls it, it's just an opening for it to happen. And that is the idea that if you stop struggling, nature, your body, will move in a better direction. It just wants health. It tries as hard as it can to get healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess, yeah, because the mind is going like, oh, well, then how do we stop trying?
Yeah.
What do I
So,
do when that comes up?
yeah, you just laugh at it. I mean, it is funny. Don't you think it's funny that how do you do not doing? How crazy is that one?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So I'm doing this and I describe it as trying and I want to not try. So I've got to do something else. I've got to do not doing that.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. You can't do anything. So the smart way to do it is to simply recognize what's happening. Right? So I'm trying. I want this. Okay, that's what's happening. You're trying and you want it. But as soon as you
Oh,
because we've got this other story in the back that we want to be not trying, it puts that one in context that the trying is there. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm trying. Okay. As soon as you recognize it like that, there's no secondary story that says you've got to not do that, but just, oh, that's happening. Okay. It changes. That's all. I cannot emphasize. I again and again I want to emphasize to people the power of simply seeing what's going on is huge.
yeah.
And if you can recognize that you're trying to do this, don't berate yourself. Don't say you've got to do it differently. Just recognize what it is that you're doing and it will change.
It already feels a little like softer.
Yeah. Beautiful. I like that word. And that says something because it is a soft place
Yeah.
to get to. A soft place. If I can hug you, you're going to go soft. I'm going to feel soft. Yeah. The shoulders drop. The out breath comes longer. Tears might come up. It's soft. Exquisitely painful sometimes, but soft. And there's this weird one that we've talked about a little bit in recent meetings, and that is compassion for self. And that's so don't worry about the word compassion and what that means, but it is an acceptance, an appreciation, and acknowledgement. And that's a big one, acknowledgement of something that's been missing, which is that hug, that love, that compassion. So not being a bad person doesn't get replaced by being a good person. When you're not a bad person, it's a not it's a non-issue. It just doesn't feature at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't get replaced by being a good person. It's just an absence. It's just a nothing. It's not even an absence.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like enough that it's just now. Like it's enough that it's just happening now. And I don't, because my mind's like, okay, self-compassion, that's what we're gonna do now. And it's like,
Well, why do I laugh? Why don't you laugh as well when you see yourself say that, when you hear that? Yeah,
yeah, that's
it's
helpful actually. That's
it's
helpful.
funny, isn't it?
That's
Yeah.
helpful.
And of course, then there's because this has been around for so long for you, maybe something you've never experienced, or maybe something that you've experienced so far in the past that you don't remember it or whatever. But that there is that loss of the familiar, even though the familiar was shitty.
Yes.
It somehow familiarity has a feeling of safety about it.
Yes.
And the idea of the unfamiliar feels unsafe.
Yes.
And so when you aren't feeling any of this stuff anymore, you go, what? I don't know how to be. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's not very pleasant. So on your journey out of this quagmire, if you invite discovery, experimental,
Mm.
that what that does is allows the unfamiliar to sneak into the familiar, to become
Yeah.
familiar with. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I
So
went
who will
to,
you be without any of this? I guess you probably don't know. Oh, well, maybe you do know. Maybe you'll be more like that person who just had a microdose.
that would be the dream.
That would be pretty weird, wouldn't it, to be like that all the time? Your friends won't know you.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of stories around holding on to what
Absolutely.
and like I've when I was lying in bed before and feeling those waves of fear, uh I kind of like go into them a little bit more than I usually.
Mm, yeah. Well, I'd love to invite you even more into them. That if you recognize that those feelings of fear are attempting to do the right thing, attempting to make you better, then all of a sudden they're not an enemy, and
Oh,
you can get into them. Yeah.
yeah, so like when they because it's really intense.
Yes.
Um it went on for like hours, so that's the fear too, that it just doesn't stop.
Well,
But
but they went on for hours because you wanted to stop them.
I
If
was
you
trying to be like open to them coming through.
be more than open, be more than allowing, be inviting, be welcoming. Sounds weird, I know. I get that.
Oh no.
And if you can't, that's okay. You just go, well, that's a possibility.
Okay.
And how you do that, the technique, the way to do that is to examine what the fear is. See, fear, this is a really weird one, but it's true. Fear relies on obscurity. Fear
Yeah.
relies on you not getting a clear view of what's going on. But when you invite it in, right, you are inviting it to be examined. And when you do that, suddenly you're not going to even describe it as fear. You go, oh, that's just a shitty feeling in my stomach or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So before it becomes a shitty feeling in your stomach, it's fear. And that's like a big fog that's got you and you can't see clearly and it's just like, oh, I've just got to get out of it. I've just got to, right. So it relies on obscurity
Yeah.
to exist. And as soon as you invite fear in and it starts to become clear, it can't still be fear. It changes it. But that's not our intention. It's just a technique, a way of doing it. Right? We're not trying to fix this thing. We're not trying to drive fear away. We want to see how it's useful. And it's
Yeah.
pretty obvious if you get into it that how it's useful is it keeps you away from things.
And I don't have to like find out what those things are or
No, no. You may or may not. They may or may not present themselves, but because you're not pushing it away and fighting it, there is like an invitation that they can take up or not, where they might reveal themselves. They might or might not, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if they
okay.
reveal them, the mind will say, if they reveal themselves, I'll get a sense of satisfaction out of it. But that's just a mental thing. It's a promise that the mind actually can't deliver on. How can the mind give you a feeling of satisfaction? The mind can only be something that you can respond to. So it's the response to that that might, but the mind promises big time. It's a fucking car salesman. It'll say anything to get you to shell out your money.
Yeah. I have a friend who has very severe OCD, and I kind of have acted in the past as someone who points to things. And he recently took an attempt on his life and it didn't work, but for like months now, he texts me and says, I'm never going to get out of this. Mine is the worst of everyone's. And I'm always like, that's a thought, that's a thought, that's a thought. And right now, that could be me saying that.
Mm, mm,
That's what's so wild about it too. Yeah.
mm.
And I don't know why I said that, but
Yeah. So what might I suggest that that's a thought is good pointing at a certain stage of evolution, if you like. But it would probably be much more valuable for you to allow him to express the intensity of what's going on for him. And in so doing, he gets to examine it, even though he's not doing that. That's not the intention from his perspective. But by allowing him to express just how bad it is and the intensity of it and the helplessness that he feels, etc., that makes it clearer for him what's actually going on, and that's
yeah.
value.
Yeah.
Having said that, I with you, I have no concept of technique that I'm applying. You know, I'm just leading with my heart. I'm just responding to what you're saying. I don't have a technique that I'm trying to do to make things different for you. That's not the intention there. I'm not good at that stuff anyway, like that. I just respond.
No, it's really helpful. Just to be heard and to, yeah, like, yeah. Where am I gonna go?
Thank
Where,
you, Maria.
so much, Vince. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. And I just want to say, as perverse as it sounds, I feel great about you coming out with this stuff. It just feels really, why, why do I feel so good about your shitty stuff? It's not about your shitty stuff. It's something else, but I feel really, I feel honored that you shared this with me. I feel really good. I feel close to you. I feel, yeah, words aren't, words can't do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nils feels it too.
Yeah. And I'm also just loving that Uncle Iroh energy you bring to the table, if that means anything to you.
Mm.
Man. Yeah, but also this entire conversation was really giving for me as well. So for me, it didn't feel like hogging up space or something, which is something I feel like I'm doing sometimes. But it was like for me as a recipient of like this conversation you had, that was meaningful.
Mm. And you email me anytime you want, Maria. No worries. You might not get a quick response or you might not get a big response, but feel free to email me.
Thank you.
Mm. How did all that affect you, Leonard?
Mm, yeah. Mm, it touched some part of me that lies already a bit further in the past. Um, yeah, but actually, yeah, it's obviously not the same. But I remember that, like from 16 to really maybe 35 or something, that actually um, the fear that I had always felt like truth, like, and it always felt like the bad places or like the moments when I felt depressed were a place to come home to or something.
Yeah.
And that was so dominant in my life for so many years. And actually, it's weird because anyway, I mean, if you look at outside events, in the end, like nothing really so bad happened, or everything in the end turned out to be fine. But after many experiences of things turning out okay in the end, I would still like panic um, beforehand, like a lot. And of course, I know it's not the same thing that Maria is experiencing. It's just like maybe the similarity is like this
Yeah.
absurd negativity and fear, and yeah, like just a habit of not only the mind, because it's also something, it has to do with the body and the emotions, and like it, that's what it makes it feel so real as well. And yeah, when I look at it at the moment, like I'm still kind of stunned by having this whole negative bias shifted really to a positive bias or something like that. Or not even positive, maybe just like neutral, more or less. Um, yeah, it seems really like super trivial to tell to talk about it now, like what's happening right now in my life, because it's like
Mm.
not really something that extreme, or like I'm not like in this super important period where everything is shifting, but it's more or less like the result of a long development or something.
Mm.
But after like many years of being like super frightened by everything, and for example, yeah, now I was unemployed after uh, yeah, after quitting my job, and now I'm just trying like to start my own business as a counselor, but yeah, so now I have to do um advertisement for my sessions, and I have to do Instagram videos and stuff like that, and that's something that I don't really like to do that much, because like to put content in a video of 1 minute and then to record myself on a video and watch it, and like okay, I mean I still have to kind of take care of the video being comprehensive and not super weird or something. But at the same time, then I'm watching at this kind of thing there on the screen, and judging it, and like then I have to imagine like how does this come across, blah blah blah. And then in the beginning I was really like, oh, now I really have to climb cringe mountain, and maybe there are still some, yeah, I don't know, residues of this kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
thinking I
That.
can control anything, or maybe if I look like this or do that with my
Yeah.
face,
Yeah.
then it's like yeah, people will react to it in a more positive way or
Yeah.
something. And then
Yeah.
also the thought was coming up like, now I really have to give everything and be super perfect in order to get a lot of clients and be successful. And then it was like, shut the fuck up. I mean, how do I know what this will have as a
Yeah.
result, you know? And then in the beginning, it was really like, I don't want to do this. And then
Yeah. Something shifts.
I approached it in a more playful way and not being perfectionist either. And then, but yeah, I could somehow um, still observe like this whole chain of, if I don't do this well enough, then I won't have clients,
Oh, mm.
I won't be able to pay my bills, I will have to move out of my apartments and live together again with my mom or something, and like this catastrophizing thing that it's just like I did that for ages, really, so it's natural that it just doesn't appear
Sure.
just
Yeah.
magically or something.
Yeah.
But the strange the strange thing is when this catastrophizing thing starts nowadays, then I can think like, oh, okay, and if I had to move back to my mom, that would be kind of a fun exercise as well, or something. Or like I could learn something from that as well,
Mm,
or
mm,
it's certainly not my preference, but I
yeah.
would also accept it, or it would also open other
Mm,
doors again, and then it's like kind of whatever will happen, it will open other doors as well, and that's kind of interest. I mean, because I guess this fear that I always had was always out of this desire to control things beforehand, or other way around. I don't know. I mean,
mm,
you are
mm.
not able to control, and that's why you are fearful, or you are fearful, and that's why you want to control. And I think it then um, the bottom of it is really like a lack of trust or something. It's
Yep.
just like
Yeah.
a lack of trust in reality, taking care of everything on
Yeah.
its own. I don't know.
So that's a big one, isn't it? That I'm hesitant to call it trust, but that recognizing that things will take care of themselves on their own,
Hmm.
that's a huge step away from where you were when the fear was running the show.
Yeah, but on the other hand, like weird things like still come up. For example, I think the
Sure.
last time I told you that I had looked into the most traumatic things in my past, and it felt like I don't really have a physical response to it anymore. Or maybe not in that moment. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't know. But then, for example, I like 1 month ago, there was like a day when I reacted in a super extreme way to a situation that was actually ridiculous. I mean, it was like just that I had to do some applications, and I waited for 6 weeks for a tax number or something, and then afterwards somebody had to sign some declaration, and I think the thing was really that I was depending on someone else's help. And that triggered something in me that I got really impatient, although like the deadline for this application was a lot of time ahead. So, and it was really like one day when I felt really stuck and in this childish thing, like, no, but I don't want to be patient and I just want this fucking paper to be signed. And it had certainly something to do with finally achieving something again or something. And
Mm.
I could observe it, but still I could not do anything about it. It was just
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
super
Yeah.
icky, and yeah, and I think but what happened was that I did judge myself by thinking like, how can I react to something so ridiculous, like in
Yeah.
that extreme way? And I noticed that I was judging, and but it, yeah, it took me
Yeah.
like not really 1 day, but certainly half a day. And then um, I noticed, okay, maybe there are like all those traumatic things in my past that I have kind of worked through, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But there are still some much
Absolutely. Yeah.
more, I don't know, trivial things. I mean, not they are not trivial, but they show
Yeah.
up as something,
Mm.
as some like super exaggerated thing in a situation in which I should not really worry about anything, but
Yeah.
or I don't wouldn't have to actually.
Yeah. So that's a really big one to appreciate that it doesn't matter how far, how how awake we are,
Mm,
old shit's still going to turn up when it gets triggered,
hmm.
and it's how we react to that is part of the evolution.
But
And
it was
so, yeah,
so icky that I was not even able or willing to investigate it more. I didn't
yeah,
have any curiosity for it. It was just like, no, I just want to get rid of that shit. I just
yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
look into it,
That was
you
your
know.
primary reaction, but since then you've thought about it and so on, and that will affect next time. Next time won't be
Mm,
like that because of
mhm,
your that experience. Yeah. So would I be accurate in saying, even though you can remember that you had a period of your life that was your version of what Maria was talking about,
mm,
you can remember that it happened, but you probably can't remember what it felt like.
mm,
You could say things like, I remember that it was shitty, but you can't
mm,
feel it again, can you?
mm, mm. There is a part of it that I would label as like some kind of vague anxiety that can still come up like in a very light version of it, but it's in no way as extreme as it used to be because
Mm,
that comes up maybe for a minute or 3 minutes or something, and it's not as intense, but I think, yeah, no, but I can't really remember this intensity of being in that
mm,
sensation like for weeks, for example.
mm. So if we were fortune tellers, we could predict that one day Maria will not remember the intensity, the shittiness of this. She'll remember that it happened, but she won't be
Mm.
able to remember how bad it felt.
Yeah, I would say that is very likely to be like that. And it reminds me, like yesterday, actually, I met a woman. Okay, I have to give a bit of the context because I used to listen to a podcast by two German women about sobriety, but it was not only about alcohol, it was also about all the things that we consume in order to numb things. And
Yeah,
so it's a bit, for me, it was a bit of an alternative to AA because I mean I appreciate what AA is doing and it's helping a lot of
yeah,
people and
yeah.
it's great. But for me somehow, I mean I went there several times and it was not the best thing for me like always to repeat, hello, I'm an alcoholic and I'm sober now for it because that was, I don't know, I'm not so interested in talking about alcohol because this is not a part of my life anymore. I just want to celebrate my sobriety and enjoy the activities that don't
Mm,
have to do anything with that, and that I dare to go to a club and dance again, and I'm having fun without having alcohol, for example. So it's a bit more of that spirit. So, and
that
then
was an
I saw,
unintended pun.
yeah, and then I saw on their website that you can post that you want to found a group in your region, meeting people who are a fan of this podcast. So I tried that, but I mean, as I'm living in a quite small town, there are not so many people who listen to this podcast. So, like half a year ago, what this woman like wrote to me, but she said that she hadn't decided if she's going to be sober or to go on drinking, and she would have joined if there was a group already existing, like of many people, so she could just mingle or something. But then in the end, like one other person contacted me. I met her, but then I never heard anything of her again. So this whole group thing just didn't take
Mm.
place. And then, like a half year later, she wrote to me, but I was like kind of busy with paper stuff and doing those videos, so I didn't answer her immediately. And then she wrote to me again, and I mean, I hadn't understood from her message that it was kind of that she had like this icky feeling and wanted to talk to someone, and then because like her message was a bit vague, and then she wrote to me and said like, yeah, I mean, I don't really know why you want to found this kind of group and then you don't respond, and can't you see that I'm in a vulnerable situation and I'm trying to open up to you, and that's it's not easy for me. And then my sudden reaction was like, huh, what does this woman want from me? Why does she blame me for things like blah blah blah? And then I could really observe like, yeah, come on, but she's like, you maybe I didn't notice that she was in a difficult situation and wanted to talk, and I should meet her. And then I wrote back to her and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that it was urgent. I was kind of busy because I'm founding my business." And then the thing was that she wrote back, and again she said like, yeah, I mean, I was a bit disappointed, blah, 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 blah. And then again, that would trigger me a bit, but I could really observe that. And then I had other things to do, but I told her, okay, so let's meet directly." And then we had a very long walk and talked to each other. And it was very interesting because, I mean, for me now, being sober is like something so normal, but to talk to someone who is in the beginning, and then I could like remember that, and that's kind of the parallel. Sorry to have such a long story, but um, she I told her like in the beginning when I quit drinking, I thought that I would never have fun anymore. I would never go to a party. I would never dance again. I would never feel good in a group or something of people. And um, and then I told her like, yeah, because she told me also that she had been sober for 3 months, but it was like really thinking, oh no, I'm not allowed to do that, and that's was stressing her. And then I told her that after like a few years, I did not even think of alcohol. It was neither like avoiding it. It was not even avoiding it
Yeah,
because it was
yeah, just a
just not
non-issue. Yeah.
in my system anymore. And that's for me like, actually, I think that was like the first awakening of all shifts that I had, just like to understand that yeah, maybe you think that something will always be stay there and it will always be difficult, and um in the end you like just I couldn't even tell how I got there. It was just
Mm.
like a natural development that like this question disappeared from my system.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a
not
good one.
even it's not even the opposite. It's like
Yeah,
just it's like the whole paradigm doesn't exist anymore.
yeah,
And yeah.
yeah. It's an interesting one that there's a characteristic of shitty thoughts seems to me that they always come with a story that will always be there, that we'll never get
Mm,
out of it. Yeah.
yeah. And then I was quite surprised because I gave some advice, not really advice, rather like I just told her like what I would do in her place, maybe.
Mm. Mm.
Because she was like really beating herself up for having started to drink again. And then I just told her that won't do you any good. Like just try to enjoy the activities that don't have anything to do with alcohol, and enjoy them to the fullest, and then at some point you will shift to feel more like doing those and not like to get
Yeah.
drunk
Yeah.
people. And I think it's the same actually about this. I mean, in my case, it was the same with this negative bias. Like, because there was some gain from it also that I
Yeah. Of course.
probably had in the past, because it also meant, I mean, I don't want to say anything that triggers other people. I'm only talking about myself, because in my case, I think this kind of being super depressed and negative about the world was also kind of an excuse for not changing anything, not doing anything, not
Mm.
mobilizing myself. Because, yeah, then it's like this nihilist thing that you can say, ah, it's not worth anything anyway, because
Mm.
the world is a horrible place anyway, or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Good one. Thank you,
But
Lennon.
yeah, but I must say that it's still a bit tricky. I mean, with this work thing that I now have, like that, there is still like, okay, I can't know if I'm going to be successful with this, or how people will find those videos, and if that will make them want to book a session with me or whatever, or if I will pay my bills with that. And on the other hand, sometimes I still find myself in a kind of nihilism. Maybe it's nihilism also.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sometimes I think like it doesn't matter anyway. So yeah, I
Mm.
don't know. It's like this kind of balance in between those two extremes, maybe like, but recently it works out quite fine to just be doing the things now and trying to
Yeah.
have fun with them and enjoy them. But yeah.
Yeah. Good one.
And even that's the worst thing, the weirdest thing, like to kind of have, no, no, not have fun, but like to have curiosity for the cringy things, or like not so pleasant or maybe even
Yeah.
sad or painful moments.
Yeah. It is interesting why they turn up when they turn up. Yeah.
Because like sometimes I'm even kind of grateful when those painful things come up, because it gives me something to work with, so to say. I mean, yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it's like uh, always this thing of noticing again and noticing again and noticing again. Yeah. Without forcing yourself to notice all the time.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Leonard. That's good. How have you been, Jan? JJ?
Hi, Vince. Just kind of slow.
Did you
Can you
say
say
slow or flow?
slow? Slow. So, there is less drive to pursue anything. Something I used to do is exercise or go for walks or read. And so now there is no drive to do those things. There is not the opposite side, like totally not motivated or anything like that, but there is very little drive.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. There is a lot of, it's not anxiety, but a lot of intensity in the body. But it's okay. So it's okay. It's manageable. There is nothing that I need to do about it, I feel.
So that's good. That sounds like a positive place to be.
Mhm.
Does it highlight that once there was some compulsive busyness?
Not really busyness, but there was compulsion, yes. Even if it is about physical exercise or getting something done, there was some compulsion. Now just wait for a nudge, wait for something to happen. That's how it feels like.
And have you experienced a trust that things that need to happen will happen?
Yes. And I saw a couple of times some of those things happening. I was pushing it and I was frustrated about certain things. And once I stopped pushing it, it turned out much better than I could have done. So that was a surprise for me. Something that you told me in the last meeting started to kind of, I can't remember exactly, but it's about thoughts. Forget the thoughts, but look at the impact of those thoughts in the body. So what came to my mind is like a thought landing in the body and exploding, and then look at that explosion, look at that. So that kept on appearing for thoughts that I used to take very seriously. Some sort of attention shifted to the body rather than the thoughts themselves.
Yes. So do you remember that story about thoughts as visitors that just turn up at the door uninvited sometimes?
Yes.
That's a great
Yes.
analogy for
That's
them.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. You don't need to know who the guest is or why they are there. Nothing. Just let them in.
Yeah. So what about when the thoughts of a self, the thoughts of an I turn up? Are they also seen as just visitors?
Yes. Yeah, they're unless I try to grasp and work with it's not an I, just a thought.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah.
There is nothing behind it that becomes an I. That's what I find out most of the time.
Mm. So have you done those final questions at LU yet?
No, not yet.
Maybe you should ask for them. You're ready for them, I think.
I just started only a few days back working with Stacy.
Mm.
Yeah, she asked me to, I told her about thoughts, and then she said maybe just do a little bit of the work, Byron, Katie stuff. So
Yeah, yeah,
I have been doing that a little bit, and that's very helpful.
yeah. So when you ask that question, is it so? Is it true? Then you immediately put thoughts into context, don't you?
That's right. And there is no way to know whether something is true or not.
Mm. Hmm. All right. Well, I'm going to go back and be with my wife and do some mindless stuff. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you.